Morning.
All right, guys, go ahead with questions.
Patrick, when it comes to an opponent switching gears at quarterback, kind of at the time that they did, how much does that make you not necessarily throw out the game plan, but actually revisit it and change it up?
Plenty of time to adjust, but we always take time to make sure that we think about both quarterbacks or three quarterbacks based on the roster, how it's situated. But just plenty of time. I think it came out Monday morning or something like that. So plenty of time to adjust if we had to make any adjustments.
You guys created a turnover that proved to be a big factor in the game on Sunday. Excuse me, but it was the first one you've got. Is there room for this defense? Do you feel you're close to creating some?
That's the plan. Yeah.
I
don't know. Yeah. That's the plan.
I guess you can't force it, but are there things that you guys feel you're doing that?
The biggest thing for us on defense, people talk about turnovers. For us, the right mindset for it is takeaways. We want to take the ball away. We know how much they're going to cherish the ball. That's the most important thing that any offensive coach is going to talk to the offensive side of the ball. So in order for us to think that they're going to just turn it over, that wouldn't be responsible by those guys, and they're professionals. So if you want the ball, you gotta go take the ball away. That's the attitude that any defensive player, any good defensive player I've been around, the guys that we're talking about, in terms of our defense. So the point is to go take the ball away on defense, takeaways, not necessarily turnovers. So in terms of what we're trying to strive to, we want to take the ball away from the offense.
On that play, I know Robert gets credited with the interception, and rightfully so, but Ja'Cory makes a really good play. It was, communicating for, I think it was Jack to take the wide receiver that was going in motion, and he sits in coverage and makes a break on the ball. Is that kind of a continuation of his development on the mental side, not just the physical side?
There's so much more interesting things to talk about with Carolina, right, guys? We deal with Andy Dalton, a 3-time Pro Bowler who led his team to the playoffs for however many years. They had, some young skill out there at the receiver position. The offensive line is big. The running backs run hard. Miles Sanders been really successful in this league. I apologize, but y'all catch me on Thursday. I mean, we're working on a bunch of stuff. Whether it's communication, post-snap, pre-snap, leverage and man-to-man coverage. Different tools we could use in man-to-man, whether it was man or whether it was a version of zone. But there's so many more interesting things to talk about right now on Thursday. I apologize, but right now to talk about with Carolina, that I'm looking forward to the challenge with these guys coming in, and they're gonna have a sense of urgency about them. The timing of the offense is gonna be different. Not anything against Young. It's just you're dealing with a veteran quarterback who he's seen everything. The skies is going to be critical. We're going to have to do a good job there. They ran the ball last week. I think they averaged 5 yards a carry. That's something we're working on to make sure we're strong there. So, I wish I could spend time thinking about that, but Carolina presents enough challenges for me in terms of preparation right now. So, and that's where my mind's at as we head into third down, fourth down today in red areas. So, it's hard for me to think about that.
Well, but he does play a big role in that.
Yes, sir.
The mental side of it.
The mental development is always for young players. We're always looking for that. That's what I keep. I tell you guys, we're teachers, and we're trying to develop them mentally, emotionally. AJ and those guys do a good job of developing physically. We're trying to work on their motor mechanics in terms of how we coach them. Football position, that's going to be critical, especially these first quarter of the season. There's a lot of bad football that goes on out there. A lot of it's because of penalties or poor football position, poor eyes, poor base, and we're trying to improve all that right now as we start to really hone in on our fundamentals of live football, so we can take that throughout the season.
Well, I guess we're on the topic of those cornerbacks. They have some veteran guys like Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen that they have to worry about. How much of a task do those two guys with the level of experience they have bring to a young secondary?
Each Sunday is different, but they have it on tape that they've been successful. Both have been considered go-to guys in critical situations, whether it's third down, red area, 2 minute. You got to be aware of them. They have them on the move in terms of, to get them away from press coverage and, kind of disguise some of the stuff they're doing. Real similar to some of the stuff they did at Tampa Bay when the head coach / play caller did stuff with Godwin and Mike Evans. So it presents a lot of challenges. You know, you're dealing with speed and you're dealing with a really savvy possession receiver that's seen a whole bunch thrown at him throughout his career. So it's a lot of challenges, not just for our players, but for me as a play caller, it's a lot of challenges.
Coach, to your point about preparation for this week with Andy Dalton being a veteran, you have a man on staff, Marvin Lewis, who actually drafted him back in 2011. How useful has it been to have somebody like him that, even though it may be a different scheme and offense, he has the knowledge of his tendencies to help prepare you for the defensive side?
We're in the business of gathering information. It's been very useful. It's been very useful to talk to him, like pick his brain. So like, you know, what are some of his favorite plays that, you know, because you think a veteran quarterback's gonna have a little say in what he wants to run for third down, 2 minute, things of that nature, red area. So were there any go-to plays he had, you know, what did he struggle with? So going through that process, that's always useful. We're always trying to gather information to make the best decision how to deploy our guys out there.
Coach, a little off football question, but also impacts the game a lot. Having your first home field advantage, how important is it for the fans to show up and in a way bring a little extra juice to that defense that's already shown up?
I thought AP did a good job of mentioning that in his press conference. You know, I'll make sure I always listen to what the head coach is saying. It's really important, you know, for the players, for the community, for the Raider organization. We want the fans to come out, support us, you know, and we know they expect to see a good product, so we got to go out there and play. But the energy in the building, that'll be critical there for us because, you know, just naturally this is an emotional game. They're going to feed off of it, so definitely going to show up in, I think AP said in black, wear black, you know, I might wear black for my outfit coming in too, so we'll be ready to rock and roll.
Let's do one or two more. Go
What
ahead.
are you seeing from Max and Christian as far as working together and just are they only scratching the surface of what they can do?
I can't say it's scratching the surface, but you're seeing the fruits of their labor. They spend a lot of time together. Since they first got it, they spent a lot of time together. You know, that's the environment that, you know, the leaders on this team have built. They spend a lot of time off the field. They spend a lot of time during special teams periods, and they're always working their craft. Robbie and Dre Carter, they do a great job. Whenever we're out there on the field, there's no idle time at all. There's none. There's no idle time. They're working something. And to see it come to fruition in the game is really the goal of any teacher and really the goal of any player who's been working something that hard. So, but I mean, scratch the surface. I don't know. I just wanted to be successful. I mean, hopefully nobody blocks them.
Last one, Mark.
As a defensive coordinator, having a Max Crosby, probably one of the most effective defensive players in the game today, how does it affect your play call?
First, it affects my mood every day. I mean, his energy is infectious. It affects my mood in terms of that. Just gotta make sure you match his energy with the juice. 2, it's a challenge, you know, in terms of stimulating mentally, because someone that good, someone that smart, someone that works that hard at it, you know, I don't want to bore him. 2, I gotta have answers for him. 3, I gotta find ways to keep it going because he is a game breaker. Figure out ways to single him up, to create those advantages for us. So, you know, emotionally, mentally, and then in terms of play calling, that's the last thing on my mind in terms of his influence there. But I get is more. I mean, it's just such a pleasure to be around him in terms of whether it's professional growth, my emotional growth, leadership, in terms of learning how to, you know, deal with the play, how to work with a player of that caliber. You know, I couldn't be more thankful of the fact that in the last 3 years he's been in my life and how he's affected me. You know, he's right there on my Mount Rushmore of guys, players that I've learned from in this league that have made me a better player, made a better man, a better coach, and a better man. So I'm real appreciative of that. But the play call part would be the last thing.
All right.
All right.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach.
Yep.